You have cancer. Miss Baring, you have advanced metastatic ovarian cancer.
Go on.
You are a professor, Miss Baring.
Like yourself, Dr. Kalikian.
Oh, yes. Now then, you present with a growth that unfortunately went undetected in stages 1, 2, and 3. Now it is an insidious adenocarcinoma.
Insidious?
Insidious means undetectable at an early stage.
Insidious means treacherous.
Shall I continue?
Oh, by all means.
Good. In invasive epithelial carcinoma, the most effective treatment modality is a chemotherapeutic agent. We are developing an experimental combination of drugs designed for primary site ovarian with a target specificity of stage 3 and beyond administration. Am I going too fast?
No.
Good. You will be hospitalized as an inpatient for treatment each cycle. After the initial 8 cycles, you will have another battery of tests. The antineoplastic will inevitably affect some healthy cells, including those lining the gastrointestinal tract from the lips to the anus and the hair follicles. We will, of course, be relying on your resolve to withstand some of the more pernicious side effects. Miss Baring?
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Do you have any questions so far?
Please go on.
Perhaps some of these terms are new?
No. You're being very thorough.
I make a point of it, and I always emphasize it with my students.
Oh, so do I. Thoroughness, I always tell my students, but they are constitutionally averse to painstaking work.
Yours, too.
Oh, it's worse every year.
Well, mine are blind.
Oh, well, mine are deaf.
You just have to hope.
I suppose so.
Where were we, Dr. Baring?
I believe I was being thoroughly diagnosed.
Right. Now, the tumor is spreading very quickly, and this treatment is very aggressive. So far, so good?
Yes.
Better not teach next semester.
Out of the question.
The first week of each cycle, you'll be hospitalized for chemotherapy. The next week, you may feel a little tired. The next 2 weeks will be fine, relatively.
8 months, like that.
This treatment is the strongest thing we have to offer you. And as research, it'll make a significant contribution to our knowledge.
Knowledge. Yes.
Here is the informed consent form. Should you agree, you sign there at the bottom. Is there a family member you want me to explain this to?
Oh, that won't be necessary.
Good. The important thing is for you to take the full dose of chemotherapy. There may be times when you'll wish for a lesser dose due to the side effects, but we've got to go full force. Dr. Baring?
Yes.
You must be very tough. Do you think you could be very tough?
You needn't worry.
Good. Excellent.
I should have asked more questions, because I knew there was going to be a test. Hi, how are you feeling today?
Fine.
Great. That's just great. This is not my standard greeting, I assure you. I tend towards something a little more formal, a little less inquisitive. Such as, say, hello. But it is the standard greeting here, so I just say fine. Of course, it is not very often that I do feel fine. I have been asked, how are you feeling today, while I was throwing up into a plastic wash basin. I have been asked, as I was emerging from a 4-hour operation with a tube in every orifice, how are you feeling today? I'm waiting for the moment when someone asks me this question and I am dead. I'm a little sorry I'll miss that. I have cancer. Insidious cancer with pernicious side effects. No, the treatment has pernicious side effects. I have stage 4 metastatic ovarian cancer. There is no stage 5. Oh, and I have to be very tough. It appears to be a matter, as the saying goes, of life and death. I know all about life and death. I am, after all, a professor of 17th century poetry, specialising in the holy sonnets of John Donne, which explore mortality in greater depth than any other body of work in the English language. And I know for a fact that I am tough. A demanding professor, uncompromising, never one to turn from a challenge. That is why I chose to study John Donne, while a student of the great E.M. Ashford.
Oh, yes. Your essay in Holy Sonnet 6, Miss Baring, is a melodrama with a veneer of scholarship unworthy of you, to say nothing of Donne. Do it again.
Oh,
Begin with the text, Miss Baring, not with a feeling. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. You've entirely missed the point of the poem, because I must say you've used an edition of the text that is inauthentically punctuated. In the Gardner edition of the text...
but that edition is
Miss
checked out of the
Baring?
line, sorry.
You take this too lightly. This is metaphysical poetry, not the modern novel. The standards of scholarship and critical reading which one would apply to any other text are simply insufficient. The effort must be total for the results to be meaningful. Do you think that the punctuation of the last line of this sonnet is merely an insignificant detail? The sonnet begins with a valiant struggle with death, calling on all the forces of intellect and drama to vanquish the enemy. But it is ultimately about overcoming the seemingly insuperable barriers separating life, death, and eternal life. In the edition you chose, this profoundly simple meaning is sacrificed to hysterical punctuation. And death, capital D, shall be no more, semicolon. Death, capital D, comma, thou shalt die, exclamation mark. If you're going for this sort of thing, I suggest you take up Shakespeare. Gardner's edition of the Holy Sonnets returns to the Westmoreland manuscript source of 1610, not for sentimental reasons, I assure you, but because Helen Gardner is a scholar. It reads, and death shall be no more, comma, death thou shalt die. Nothing but a breath, a comma, separates life from life everlasting. Very simple, really. With the original punctuation restored, death is no longer something to act out on a stage with exclamation marks. It is a comma, a pause. In this way, the uncompromising way, one learns something from the poem, wouldn't you say? Life, death, soul, God, past, present. Not insuperable barriers, not semicolons, just a comma.
Life, death, I see. It's a metaphysical conceit, it's wit. I'll go back to the library and
It is not wit, Miss Baring, it is truth. The paper's not the point.
Isn't it?
Vivian, you're a bright young woman. Use your intelligence. Don't go back to the library. Go out. Enjoy yourself with friends, hmm?
I went outside. It was a warm day. There were students on the lawn talking about, well, nothing, laughing. Simple human truth. Uncompromising scholarly standards. They're connected. I just couldn't... I went back to the library. Anyway. All right. Significant contribution to knowledge. 8 cycles of chemotherapy. Give me the full dose. The full dose. Every time.